All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Devin McClellan, and I'm a member of Registrar Corp's marketing team, and I'm pleased to chair today's webinar. We're excited to have you join the U.S. Foreign Commercial Service teams across Southeast Asia and Registrar Corp. This webinar is focused on unlocking the U.S. food and beverage market for Southeast Asian exporters. There will be 3 parts to this webinar. First, Registrar Corp will discuss the key U.S. FDA regulations that apply to exporters, as well as discuss a solution which may help identify the biggest buyers of your specific product. For the second part of the webinar, the U.S. Department of Commerce will discuss the SelectUSA program, the annual SelectUSA Investment Summit, which takes place every year in May in the USA, and some tools for companies looking to set up or expand their U.S. operations. And finally, we will round off the webinar with a Q&A session, so please feel free to send through your questions as you think of them during today's webinar. And as a heads up, we would really appreciate your help with providing feedback through a survey link that we will share in the chat at the end of the webinar. So to get us started, let me introduce you to our first speaker, Vijay Ananda, who is the Senior Regulatory Advisor for Registrar Corp's ASEAN and Oceania regions. Vijay holds an MBA from London Business School with extensive experience in regulatory compliance, banking, education, and management consulting. Vijay and his team assist local exporters with global compliance for food and beverages, cosmetics, medical devices, and drug products. Take it away, Vijay.
Thank you, Devin, for the very generous introduction. Good morning, everyone. I'm really excited to share with you some information on unlocking the US F&B market in relation to key FDA regulations. So at the end of this webinar, you should have a very clear idea as to what the key FDA regulations are that govern the export of food and beverage products to the United States. And you'll also get some idea on how you could identify the biggest buyers of your specific product category. So without further ado, I'll start the presentation. So this is a summary of what I said earlier. So we'll start off with an introduction to Registrar Corp, and then go through the 7 important aspects of US FDA regulations. And I'll go through each of them as a presentation progresses. I'll talk a little bit about our buyer finder service before passing the baton over to Devin to introduce Mastan from the US Foreign Commercial Service. So something about Registrar Corp, an introduction. So Registrar Corp has been around for more than 20 years now. We've got about 35,000 clients around the world in 180 countries. Thanks to our clients, we've been consistently well rated with our customer service. And we have progressively added to a suite of services and software. Currently, it's standing at 27. And we're pleased and very proud to say that we've got deep expertise in relation to US FDA compliance with 462 years of regulatory expertise in total. And finally, we are the only company that we are aware of that is ISO 27001 certified. So at a high level, Registrar Corp's corporate mission is to keep people safe by helping food, cosmetics, medical device, and drug companies meet global compliance requirements. So you will see from this chart that we have deep expertise in each of these functional areas. And it is something that we do day in, day out. Our specialists in the US on the food and beverage side are busy with a range of activities, from a simple registration to helping somebody unwind a detention at a US port. So something that's very, our specialist expertise is very much needed on a daily basis. So as mentioned, we've got 35,000 clients around the world with 21 global offices to support growth locally And through this local reach, we are able to make compliance quick and easy. This localized approach has allowed us to earn a high client satisfaction globally. So the way we operate is local as well as global. Our local offices serve as liaison points on the ground, whether it's Singapore, Vietnam, Philippines, Malaysia. We are the ones talking to clients on the ground. And at the back end, we talk to our specialists in the US to make sure that the advice that we give is spot on because there's no margin for error in the work that we do. So looking at the services we provide, they span three areas: services, software, and professional training. You will see from this chart that not everything is related to food and beverage services. It also includes cosmetics and medical devices and drugs. Now, with our services, I will be going through all the services that relate to food and beverage. With software, we've got a cosmetry product. We've got a Comply Hub for FSVP monitoring. We've got a La Calc food labeling software. And for professional training, we have a, a very broad and wide range of professional training, which is available online 24/7 on demand. So without further ado, I'll go through the 7 basic FDA requirements. The first is a food facility registration. Under the Bioterrorism Act of 2002, all foreign facilities that manufacture, process, pack, or store food, including beverages and dietary supplements, need to have a registration. So this is mandatory. So if you have 2 factories in your country, which are both involved in producing a certain kind of food, which is consumed in the United States, you will need to have 2 facility registrations, depending, so if you have a facility that manufactures a product, you have another facility that stores a product, you will have to have 2 registrations to comply with this regulation. The second requirement under the US FDA compliance needs would be that each foreign facility must designate a US agent. A US agent is somebody based in the United States who needs to be available 24/7 to answer any calls from the US FDA on matters relating to FDA compliance. So right there, you've got the first 2 requirements: registration and US agent. Now, the registration is renewable every 2 years on even years. Okay, moving on now. And this registration includes a consent for inspection. From time to time, the US FDA might send notices of inspection, and they might send their officers to a facility, spend 3 days there to make sure that the processes that are reported are actually the processes that take place within the company. And as a company, Registrar Corp helps people who get a notice of inspection with what we call a mock inspection. Okay. A relatively recent addition to the compliance needs is what is called a unique facility identifier. So the only company recognized as a provider of such service is Dun & Bradstreet, and we work with them to make sure that as we register your facilities, they also carry with them a unique facility identifier to ensure that the facilities are bona fide facilities in your respective countries. Registration is only required for facilities that come into direct physical contact with food. Sales officers and trading companies are exempt from registration requirements, as are personal residences, transportation companies, farms, retail food establishments, fishing vessels that do not engage in processing on board the vessel, and facilities that are entirely regulated by the USDA. The third US FDA compliance requirement is what's called a prior notice. A prior notice is a notification electronically to the FDA about a shipment that is going to arrive at a US port. So this is a mandatory requirement. It's required even for samples of products. It includes information about the shipment and the facility, and it may be filed by an exporter, an importer, or a third party. So these are some guidelines as to when these the prior notice should be submitted, depending on the mode of transport. We are advised that companies should not submit a prior notice more than 15 days before the anticipated arrival of the goods. The fourth requirement that I would like to talk about is a food canning establishment, or FCE, registration and submission identifier, SID. So this refers, or this is a requirement for food that's considered acidified, food with a final pH of lesser or equal to 4.6, or water activity more than 0.85. Typically, such products come in a can, glass, semi-rigid, and flexible pouches. It also refers to low-acid canned foods with a final pH of more than 4.6. Well, certain tomato products have it more than 4.7, so they're exempt. No, they're not exempt, but they're another example of low-acid canned foods. And also with a water activity of more than 0.85. So common examples of such products would be green olives in brine, figs in syrup, roasted peppers. Yeah. So these products are subject to additional registration and product submission requirements. So you might ask, how would I know if my product is subject to such requirements? So for that, I've got some good news. So before I do that, I just wanted to give you examples of such products which I described earlier. And the good news lies in that we have got free tools which help you determine whether your products are subject to FCE SID regulations. If you fill up a questionnaire from this web link, you will receive a PDF report detailing the possible requirements for your specific product. And using the second link there, you could verify if a particular SID is currently on file in the FDA's database. So this is very important because it may result in detentions if these are not filed if they were required. So the fifth and sixth requirements relate to food ingredients and food labeling. This is a very important requirement, and it is the biggest cause of detentions at a US port. So these are the new label formats that came into force about 3 years ago. And you will see that depending on the packaging of your product, there could be different forms of labels that are used. A standard, a linear, a small package, tabular, or simplified. So what must be present on your label, you might ask? Okay. Firstly, you need a statement of identity. The statement of identity is a description of what a product is. Its name cannot be something that is only what is known as commonly, but it must describe the product. For example, 7-Up is not good enough. It must contain the descriptor lemon flavored soda. Then with regard to net quantity of contents, you need to have the actual quantity For viscous products, you need the net weight. For liquid products, you need to have the volume. And the units that you have to use are metric as well as imperial measures. Nutrition labeling. You need to have in your nutrition panel, in descending order, all the individual nutrients and ingredients that are required as specified by the US FDA. Allergen declarations are increasingly important, to make sure that people who may get adverse reactions are pre-warned, and so these need to be included in your label. Manufacturer, packer, or distributor. So you need to have any one of the three details on your label. You need the corporate name and the full address so that the FDA is able to contact these people in case there is any question relating to US FDA compliance. Country of origin, also a mandatory requirement. And short forms are not permitted. For example, PRC, or which is a common acronym for the People's Republic of China, is deemed to be an acronym that may not be understood by everyone. So you need to have the full name of the country. And finally, bioengineered food disclosure. The USDA publishes a list of genetically modified foods, and if any of your ingredients fall into that category, there is a need to disclose this. It's a mandatory requirement. So other labeling considerations. So in addition to regulations regarding the mandatory statements that must appear, FDA has a maze of regulations relating to other labeling issues, such as claims. FDA dictates that when such claims can be made, only FDA decides this, and this can change from time to time. For example, nutrient content claims refer to levels of a nutrient in the food, such as something that's high in fiber. Health claims refer to a risk reduction in disease that may occur due to the consumption of food. Similarly, structure, function claims refer to the effects to the structure or function of the body. All these types of claims are subject to strict requirements. With the US FDA, all labels must be in English, especially all the requirements that relate to mandatory information. If other languages are used, then all mandatory information needs to be translated in that language as well. Brand names and mottos may be exempt from the need for translation. Organic. Due to a strong marketing advantage and consumer desire for clean labels, organic foods are now a significant part of the US market. To make this organic claim, foods would need to be certified by the USDA. Typically, the percentage of organic ingredients needs to be specified or claim. And this needs to be, this can appear on certain labels together with the agent's information. How do I determine that my ingredients are okay? So there are three categories of ingredient designations. Food additives are substances. So all substances need to be approved by the US FDA unless they are recognized as they're generally recognized as safe or GRAS. Yeah. So GRAS substances are recognized as safe for the intended use by qualified experts, either through scientific procedures or through a history of use in food. The third category is color additives. they must be approved by the FDA, even if derived from natural sources. So how does anyone figure out where we stand with regards to these substances, right? So the US Code of Federal Regulations lists all the foods and color additives that are approved. Exactly what products are and intended users are also covered in this Code of Federal Regulations. The GRAS notice inventory includes notices where industry has informed the FDA that a certain substance is GRAS or generally regarded as safe. Companies can self-affirm GRAS with public or private data, but they need to make sure that they have the data available in case the FDA requests proof of the ingredient status. So that's very important. And finally, the final US FDA regulation that I want to talk about is a requirement under FSMA, or the Food Safety Modernization Act. This act was passed about 2 years ago, and it follows the philosophy of making sure that things don't go wrong by preventive action. So HAPC stands for Hazard Analysis and Risk-Based Preventive Controls. So there are various elements to this. And, one of the common questions we get asked is, I'm ISO certified. I have, various other certifications. Do I still need a food safety plan? And the answer is yes, right? Chances are, if you've got other certifications, you would have gone through a number of these elements. They just need to be tweaked probably to make sure that they meet these requirements. So the plan will need to be written by a Preventive Controls Qualified Individual, or PCQI. So how does one become a PCQI? You can either not bother about this and come to a provider like Registrar Corp who does this for you, or somebody within your company can undergo the training. And, because having gone through the training, will be certified to approve such a plan within your company. So I'm pleased to tell you that all of you who are watching this webinar will get an email which will allow you to have a discount on some of our online training, including training for the PCQI. Okay, so we finished the section on US FDA compliance. I've described to you the 7 different regulations that apply. Firstly, you need to have a facility registration. Secondly, you need a US agent. Thirdly, you need to make sure that you submit a prior notice before your goods arrive at a US port. Fourthly, if your product is a low acid product, you need an FCE or SID certification. Fifthly and sixthly, you would need to make sure that your ingredients are permissible and your food labels are compliant with the current US FDA regulations. And finally, you will need a food safety plan. So, it is very definite, very finite, and please take comfort that we've helped 35,000 clients around the world with their US FDA compliance. So, we're confident that, we'll be able to help you. Okay, next section is on BioFinder. Through the years, we've had clients for whom we've done presentations like the one I did who've responded, fantastic. Now we know all about US FDA compliance. Can you help me to get a buyer? And for the longest time, we've held back saying that, we only provide compliance help. But in view of the number of calls that we've had to provide such a service, we have now developed a service which is very specific to your particular needs, right? So let me describe what our BioFinder service is, all right? So product-specific report on the top specific product. So by specific product category, an example like organic extra virgin coconut oil. So very specific, right? So we have developed a service through which we will provide a report. The top buyers in the US of organic extra virgin coconut oil. We would be able to pull data from various sources, including the US FDA, and millions of shipments over the past 24 months, and give you a report in descending order with the top buyers and contact information. So obviously, if your search is broad, for example, your search is coconut oil, you are going to get more hits. You're going to get a longer list of buyers compared to if you're more specific. So the choice is yours. You can broaden or narrow it down, and the results would be slightly different depending on the choice you make. So we all have been to trade shows, and for those of us have been to trade shows and have tried to identify buyers, we would understand the value of such a product. Given that the US is the biggest consumer market in the world, I would suggest to you that this might be a worthwhile exercise. So I'm just going to show you some sample reports. So on the right, you can appreciate the level of detail that we would go to in providing you this report, right? So first of all, this report is in descending order of the biggest buyers of your specific product category. You'll have the company name on the left. You will have the shipping history. You will have the detailed contact information, as well as company URL and social account links. So this is pretty powerful. Of course, I will point out that contacts sometimes change, right? People move. So, while one contact may be there, you've got the phone information and other information that you could use to contact alternate people within the company. So this is something that's been well received by our client base, particularly in these difficult times. A lot of companies who've had problems with getting buyers have found this to be very useful. I'm going to share with you a list of, what I meant to say is after this presentation, video, as well as product information on our Biofinder service. So I'll just leave you with various contacts across ASEAN that you could contact if you would like to get more information on US FDA compliance. We have Agus in Indonesia. We have Miss Tan for Thailand, Vietnam, Cambodia, and Laos. We've got Theva in Malaysia, Singapore, Burma, Myanmar, Brunei, and Maldives, and Queenie in the Philippines. So this was the list of informational items I was talking about. We'll send to you including the brochure, sample report, as well as a YouTube video. So that brings me to the end of my section. I'll pass it now over to Devon to introduce our next speaker.
All right. Thank you, Vijay, for your very informative presentation. If you have any questions about Vijay's presentation, please input them in the Q&A feature of this webinar platform. And while FDA regulations can be daunting, please take comfort from the fact that Registrar Corp has helped more than 30,000 exporters from around the world become FDA compliant before they started their export activity to the USA. It now gives me great pleasure to introduce our next speaker, Muhabin Mastan, Investment Specialist for ASEAN from the U.S. Embassy in Singapore. Mas joined the U.S. Department of Commerce at the U.S. Embassy in Singapore as an investment specialist in August 2020. Prior to this, he spent 8 years in the financial sector, holding positions at leading institutions including Goldman Sachs, State Street, and Standard Chartered Bank. In his current role, he supports companies across Southeast Asia in expanding their presence in the United States. He's played a key role in strengthening U.S. ASEAN trade and investment relations through close collaboration with government agencies and business associations in the region. Moss holds a Master of Science in International Relationships from Nanyang Technological University and a Master of Law from Singapore Management University. Over to you, Mastan.
All right, thanks so much, Devon. Let me share my screen right now. Right. All right. Good morning, good evening, everyone. Thanks so much for your time today. And I'd like to thank Devon and Vijay as well for your support for the last few months to putting together this fantastic webinar. And so Vijay actually shared about, the FDA compliance and regulations for international companies need to adhere to in order to, expand your businesses into the US market, which is the biggest market in the world, as Vijay alluded to earlier. And hopefully by end of this webinar today, you'll have key takeaways in order to expand your F&B business in the US market with the support of Registrar Corp as well as our team support in the US Embassy in Singapore as well. So my name is Mas. I'm actually an investment specialist in the US Department of Commerce in the US Embassy in Singapore. I'm actually covering the SelectUSA program in Singapore, working closely with my colleagues in the region, in ASEAN region. So happy to see, so many companies today from Southeast Asia who are actually very keen to expand your F&B business to the US markets. So what's SelectUSA? So SelectUSA's mission is to promote and facilitate job creating business investment in the US. So SelectUSA was in fact started back in 2011 by President Obama in order to help international companies to set up a physical presence into the US markets. So we work very closely with the different US states. As you know, US is 50 different states. Of course, cities, territories, and so forth. And we are geographically neutral as a US government in the sense that if a company, let's say from Singapore, would like to expand to the US, we usually ask that company, in terms of, which industry the company is from, or like airport in order to ship products into the US market, or they're looking to collaborate with any partners in the US, they may want to be closer to their partners. So from those data points, we will actually narrow down the top 3 or top 5 states could be suitable for their business in the to be set up in the US. And we have two types of clients. Firstly, we work closely with international companies like yourselves. And secondly, we work closely with the US state economic development organizations as well. And we primarily focus on greenfield investments in the sense that job creation is our key mandate, of course. If you're looking to set up an office or like a manufacturing facility or like a warehouse in the US, we're happy to support as well. Of course, we have companies coming to us saying that they want to do M&A in the US. Of course, we will happy to have you do the M&A. But once you are looking to create more jobs or you're looking to expand that existing facility even further, we're happy to facilitate the expansion part of your project as well. So why the US? The US is the biggest market in the world, $30 trillion of GDP, 1/3 of global consumption as well. And the US is also geographically well positioned globally. So let's say once you land in the US, you want to, maybe, expand your business to Europe or like Latin America. It'll be easier for you once you're in the US markets and you have a US entity already set up. And number 3 is we have a very strong skilled workforce. We have the top universities in the world. So it'll be easy to hire top talents for your businesses as well. And number 4, we do have a business-friendly environment. So let's say if you're a Southeast Asia-based company looking to go to the US, we will treat you similar to any US businesses already operating in the US. So it gives you the level playing field in terms of business competition as well. And number 5, we do have strong financial institutions and markets as well. So we do have companies who are keen to list in the US, let's say NYSE or Nasdaq, because US actually provides that liquidity for companies, especially SME looking to raise capital in the US, they always happy to come and join in the SelectUSA program as well. We can provide some of the resources which we have in order to help them expand and grow in the US. And number 6, US, the world leader in critical industries. Of course, today's webinar is about F&B. We also focus on other sectors such as like artificial intelligence, critical minerals, semiconductors, and so forth. So the US is very much in the lead for these kind of industries. And number 7 is to provide robust IP protection. So let's say if you have invented like a key technology, let's say it could be like related to food manufacturing or processing, right? We are happy to help you in terms of um, like your patent in the US market as well, so they can protect your IP in the US and also have it protected so that you don't have any competitors using the same technology eventually. And number 8, we're a leading destination for FDI as well globally. And I'd like to share with you how SelectUSA can help, right, through these 3 categories. Firstly, we provide data. So, so within the data category, we have a key tool called the SelectUSA Investor Guides. It's investor guides which we have put together in collaboration with our service provider partners. So it's like a 15-chapter guide. It includes things like immigration, taxation, how to structure a business in the US, so forth. And second, we do have fact sheets on the country level, industry level as well. It's a free tool. So happy to share more about these fact sheets later on during this webinar. And we do also provide customized research report in the sense that if a company looking to go to the US, they need like more handholding. We do provide a tailored research report. We do have an in-house research team in the US, which can provide you more in-depth information in the sectors and what your business needs are. And from there, we're happy to share some of the key data which will be helpful for your US business expansion as well. The second category is events. So we do events from time to time. So today is one of the events, which is like industry focus event. And we do work with like the state EDOs. So let's say we have like California coming to Singapore. We do work with them in order to promote California across the business communities in Singapore and the region as well. And secondly, we focus on industry focus events. So it can be F&B, it can be cosmetics, can be medical devices, and so on and so forth, to make sure it's very much focused to the key audience who are tuning into the webinar or the events. And we do have a regional roadshow coming up next month, covering Singapore, Malaysia, Thailand, and Philippines as well. So we do have this roadshow not only in ASEAN region, we have it across the world. So we bring together the EDOs to come to these different markets to share with their local businesses on what kind of opportunities they can explore in the different states, cities, and counties in the US. And we also have the 2026 SelectUSA Investor Summit coming up in May this year, May 3rd to May 6th. Happy to share more about this summit later on in this call. So this summit, we're happy to help you announce any of your business expansion plans in the US. And during the summit, we also have like cultural events where, we do have like different states having their own focus events. You can also go and network with the different states as well. And number three category on how we help companies is through navigation. So we as a federal government, we act as ombudsman in the sense that we have connections across various federal agencies, and we do work with the let's say FDA, DHS, USDA, etc. To get companies the latest regulations in order to help you expand to the US markets. And we also work with service providers like Registrar Corp is one of them. And we also work with like lawyers, tax accountants, and also immigration attorneys as well in order to help you with the nitty-gritty details in order to expand to US market. And this is the actionable information which I briefly touched on earlier. These are all free online tools. So fact sheets, as I shared earlier, we have it on the country level, on the industry level. On the left-hand side, you can see an example of the agribusiness fact sheets. And second, we have the investor guides. Talks about immigration, visas, taxation, and so forth. And the cluster mapping tool as well, which is on the industry level, which I will touch on later on a bit more. And the customized research report as well. So this is the investor guide, 15 different chapters, as I mentioned earlier. There's a link to the guide at the bottom of the screen. Feel to take a look. It's very comprehensive. It's the only guide where you can actually take a look and then you get to know more about how to expand to the US. And there's also like contact details of some of the service providers if you need like more handholding as well. If you're looking to set up your business in the US. So this is a cluster mapping tool focused on food and beverage sector. So this is the entire US markets map. So as you can see on the left-hand side on the interactive map, those regions which are highlighted in blue are those regions or states where we have a high concentration of F&B sectors and companies situated in. So if you're looking to go to the US, we will highly encourage you to focus on those blue areas and clusters, such as like California and Texas, so that you can you can grow your business in those areas as well very easily. And this is the state business incentives tool. So this is a tool where you can actually go into the website because we have companies asking us, which states provides them the best incentives or financial support, right? So by coming to this website, you can just like click on any of the states and you'll have like a list of programs and incentives you can actually leverage on in the respective states. Yeah. So now coming to the SelectUSA Investor Summit, is the highest profile conference which we have every year. So this year is happening May 3rd to May 6th in Maryland in the US. So this summit, we bring together our secretaries, governors across the US, White House officials, C-suite executives across the different international markets, coming together to learn more about the latest business trends, investment opportunities in the US. So literally by coming to these summits, within the 3 to 4 days, we can talk to all the states because all of them will be having booth at the exhibition hall. So you can literally walk from California to Texas, from Texas to New York to like Ohio and so forth, to talk to the state representatives, and you can actually collate all the information which you need and then come back home, and then you can start planning your US expansion strategy as well. So that's the website for the summit at the bottom right hand corner. Feel free to tune in and check it out. And this is a delegation from Singapore. I don't have the delegation photo for ASEAN region. So from ASEAN region, we have about 300 plus companies for last year's summits. So there's a summit location is a Gaylord National Resort Center in Maryland. So we do have our ambassadors and our senior commercial officers from the US embassies in the region who are leading the delegation for the summit across ASEAN region. So I'd like to also touch base on SelectUSA Tech, which is a program under SelectUSA itself, because recently we realized that there's more tech startups who also are keen to go to the US. Of course, it can be F&B focused or not F&B focused as well. So we do focus on companies which are under 10 years old, generating up to $10 million of revenue annually and up to 40 employees, you'll be under the SelectUSA Tech category, so-called. And how we support them is through like client counseling. We provide them like actionable data and also connect them to the EDOs and different agencies if you need any kind of supports. We also plan like workshops, academic sessions where you can actually learn more about, let's say, if you're looking to tailor your product into serving the US customers, if you're looking to fundraise in the US, etc., etc. We're happy to support in that front as well. And another special thing about this SelectUSA Tech program is we also provide startups a pitching opportunity. As you can see, we are focusing on like 5 different industries. Firstly, defense, second, energy, third, healthcare, number 4 is software, ICT, number 5 is open. So if you're an F&B company in the tech space, you'll fall under the open category, which is the miscellaneous category. Yeah, so we also provide like in-person networking opportunities for you guys at the summit as well. So we also have a very specialized program for the female entrepreneurs, right? It's called the Select Global Women in Tech. So we do have like a 12-month long mentorship program. It's mostly virtual. So once you attend the summit, you express interest to be part of the Select Global Mentor program, we will onboard you into the we'll onboard you to the 12-month long mentorship program. We will also pair you with a US-based mentor. So the mentor can be like a corporate executive, can be a venture capitalist, can be angel investor, or even like a attorney who could actually handhold you in terms of sharing with you how you can expand to the US. So like a 12-month long program, whatever questions you need to be answered, you can actually get this answered to this program. So we can also help you to sort of like scaling up your products in the US markets, fundraise in the US, and establishing your US business entity as well through this program. So this is the spin-off events which we usually have surrounding the summit dates. So this is a list of programs which we had for last year. For this year, I believe the programs are being finalized. You can actually check out the website below. So we have events taking place in like different states in the US. As you can see, for last year we had programs in Arizona, California, Delaware, New Jersey. The list goes on. Different sectors, and key sector, as you can see in the list, is F&B as well. So these programs are actually managed by our state partners. So it could be like 1 or 2 days. They'll be focusing on different sectors and very much focused on the different localities if you're looking to go to that specific US state to start your business as well. So these are some of the press releases we had in Singapore and ASEAN region in the recent years. So happy to always amplify your US market expansion success story as well, because we know it's not an easy process, but we'll always be there to support you in that entire journey, expanding into the US. So that's it from me. Now we are ready for Q&A, and also our contact details. We just contact us here, and my contact is here. And now I'll pass it over to Devon to take away for the Q&A session. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Maston, for your detailed presentation. That was very useful information for exporters and investors on the range of tools available to companies looking to set up or expand their operations in the United States. We'll now move to the final part of today's webinar, the Q&A. Many thanks for sending through some of your questions already, and we'll try to get through as many as we can in the next 10 minutes. But before we jump in, I'm going to drop a link now in the chat to a survey about the webinar, and we would greatly appreciate it if you can complete this survey about your experience before you log off today. All right, just dropped it in. So let me take a peek at what questions we have received. So our first one is for you, VJ. Can you please define the statement that trading companies are exempted? Does this mean that consolidators?
Thank you. Sorry, go ahead.
Consolidators of food or non-food, since they are not manufacturers themselves?
Yeah, so really the thinking behind that is if you do not come into direct physical contact with food, then you do not have to register. So if you're a trading company, you're buying from one source and you're selling for another source, there is no need for you to register a facility because you have no facilities to register.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I hope that answers the question.
I think it does, but as always, if you need more clarification about your specific products, please do feel free to reach out to either VJ or Mastan using the emails shown on the screen. They'll be happy to work with you directly after the event. Another question, VJ, is the buyer finder relevant for raw material suppliers?
Anyone interested in the buyer finder service, we would ask you questions about your product specifications. So, and we would give you some initial feedback as to, the kind of search that we're going to do, so that we're going to go in it as partners and, we exchange information before you decide to move with us. So even with raw material suppliers, I would encourage you to write to us with what you have in mind, the specifications of your products, and we might before we move ahead with the exercise.
Wonderful. Thank you. One more for you, VJ. Am I allowed to ship my products and then have the importer relabel them once he receives them?
Oh, this is a recipe for problems, right? Because once products reach a US port, to meet all the requirements, right? So if a customs officer checks your product labels and they are not compliant with US FDA regulations, then action may be taken against you. Yeah. So I wouldn't recommend this. This is not the way to, to export products to the US if you want to remain problem-free. It is very important to make sure you get your labeling right from day one. There are two issues here. One is if your products get detained, there are two risks here. One is financial risk. The cost of unwinding a detention is something you don't want to go through. It could be as much as 10,000 US dollars, right? But more seriously, you would suffer reputational risk, not only for your individual company, but potentially for the whole country if there's a pattern of such instances, right? Certain products from a particular country may be blacklisted. So this is not recommended. I don't think you should allow such a situation to take place. You should ensure that your products are labeled before shipping.
Thank you, VJ. I do see a few questions in the chat. One is asking if there are any upcoming studies or proposals the FDA has published that importers and exporters should be aware of. And I would just like to interject and say, please do follow Registrar Corp's blog. We are constantly following all FDA regulatory updates, and we'll send them out by email and on our blog to anyone who is subscribed. And that will be not just today, but moving forward. And then Mastan, let me get one for you. How do we determine a fair entry value to send our inventory product to the US based on consignment? This person is interested in potentially opening business of seafood products in the United States, but are reluctant due to current tariff conditions.
All right, thank you so much, Devon. I was happy to have VJ take all the questions though. But anyway, yeah, I think so. So of course, shipping products to the US, it's not always easy, right? So it depends on which market you're coming from. So it's hard to answer the question, Ram, because for seafood, we need to check what are the current regulations. But of course, we do have companies, still exporting products into the US from the F&B sector. We need to look at the product specifications and some of the latest regulations as well. And also, I think, so depending on which state you're looking to ship to as well, because different states have different local regulations, and also the different customs have different laws as well. And so I'll happy to have a conversation with the company after this call, maybe together with you as well to support your F&B, your seafood business growth in the US as well. Yeah.
Thank you, Moss. We've got time to do a few more. VJ, we got another for you asking if there is a facility who relabels a tea product before sending it to the United States, does that facility need to register with FDA?
A facility that relabels a tea product. No, you see, if as long as the product is there's some involvement with the product, that facility needs to register with the FDA. So the fact that the product is relabeled means that the product's been touched. Yeah. So going by that principle, the answer is yes, right? So going by the regulations, anybody that processes, packs, or stores food, even if you store it in a warehouse, that facility needs to be registered. Yeah. So yeah, the answer going by that criteria is yes.
Okay, thank you, VJ. We are getting an influx of... Oh.
I wanted to, if it's okay, I just wanted to give some general feedback about what's happening in the US right now with the FDA, if that's okay.
Go ahead, yeah.
Okay. So I just want to share some insights of what's happening in the US right now because, there are a lot of movements at the present time. At a high level, the leadership at the FDA is going through some transition. He has made various statements, and each of the centers within the FDA, has seen some changes, and we're expecting more hiring efforts in the different segments because across government there has been some turnover. The Make America Healthy Again movement is quite active, but their focus has been around statements about colorants and artificial ingredients. Our view is that these two areas of focus may have limited impact on the industry as a whole, but they may tend to catch the influence of the interest of influencers and the popular press. Yeah. So we do not think that this will affect exports to a large extent. One area of focus that might see a renewed effort in 2026 there was a tail off last year, and we are expecting that this year there might be an emphasis on training, and we might see more inspection mandates coming up. That's it from me, Devin.
Thank you, Vijay. That's very insightful. And as I mentioned, Registrar Corp does stay on top of developments like this. So for continuous updates on the state of FDA and any new regulations coming out, please do subscribe to Registrar Corp's blog to receive those updates by email. We are out of time for today, but if you have any questions that we weren't able to answer live, please do send them to Registrar Corp by email. I'm going to drop that in the chat now. But on behalf of the U.S. Foreign Commercial Service and Registrar Corp, we thank you for your attendance and engagement. And one more reminder to please drop any inputs you have about your experience today via the survey link, which I will also put again one more time into the chat right now. We will email all participants a recording of this webinar, both pieces. Thank you again, Vijay and Maston. And to show our appreciation, we are also pleased to let you know that we will include a discount code for our full range of online training courses. Just know that this code is valid for 1 month, so make sure to check it out soon and see what training would be a best fit for you. Thank you again so much for your participation today. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you, everyone. All those little applause emojis are for you, our presenters. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day.